Now let's look at the force pump. The force pump also uses atmospheric pressure for its operation. By looking at this diagram, you realize that here you have the barrel. This is the barrel. Then you have the piston, which can be moved either up or down. Okay. Then here you have the pipes which go down up to where the water is. You see, this is the water level. So there is atmospheric pressure. This water is open to atmospheric pressure. So these arrows here represent atmospheric pressure. Then you have the barrel, you have water inside, then this is the piston. The piston could also be called a plunger. So you can move this piston either up or down. So in this diagram, we are showing what happens when the piston moves up. Then we shall also talk about when it is moving down. Then this side, you have compressed air. There's compressed air here. And then this pipe is where the water passes. So it is exit pipe where the spout is. So we have labeled here this space W. Then we also have two valves. There is valve Y, this one. It is now open so the water can go, while there is valve X which is closed. Now what is interesting about the force pump is these valves, when one is open, the other one must be closed. You see? So these are the main parts when you are drawing this diagram. So when they say draw a well-labeled diagram of a force pump and explain how it works, before you get the marks for explanation, drawing and labeling the way you see earns you the marks, and then finally you can go ahead and explain. So we are saying a force pump is used, as the word says, to force water up where the water table is below 10.3 meters. Sometime back we said atmospheric pressure can only support a water column up to a level of 10.3 meters. So where you have a borehole has been sunk and you realize that the water table is less than 10.3 meters, it means the borehole cannot manage to work, because a borehole depends on atmospheric pressure, and atmospheric pressure only supports a column of water up to 10.3 meters. Now that this one is below 10.3 meters, you need a force pump. So a force pump is used to raise water up where the water table is below 10.3 meters. And the reason is given. This is because atmospheric pressure can only support a column of water to a height of 10.3 meters. So below that, you need a force pump. Now, how does a force pump work? How does it work? How does a force pump work? Now, let's first go back to the diagram. When this piston moves up, which we also call a plunger, we call that upstroke. And when the piston moves down, that is a downstroke. So when the piston moves up, what happens? This valve opens, that is valve Y, and then this one closes. And once this one opens, the water will be able to enter. Why does the water enter? Because when this one moves up, when the piston moves up, the pressure inside the barrel reduces. And the pressure outside, that is atmospheric pressure, becomes more. And because it becomes more, it presses the water, and then the water enters. As the water enters, it will hit this valve, and then the valve will what? Will open. So let us see how this system works. During the upstroke, on the upstroke, valve X closes, and then valve Y opens, and atmospheric pressure pushes water up into the barrel through valve Y. See? So during the upstroke, when the piston moves up, the pressure inside the barrel reduces, so the pressure outside becomes more. So for that reason, the atmospheric pressure will press the water and force it to pass through the barrel. and it will pass by opening this valve Y, and then it passes through to the barrel. Meanwhile, valve X closes. Now, what happens this time when the piston now moves downwards? Once the piston moves downward, remember all this water which is on top of this valve is going to press, the weight of this water is going to press this valve down. So this valve is going to what? To close. As it closes, the water will be passing here with a very high force, and it will make this one what? Open. So it is going to be, when this one comes down, the opposite takes place. This valve was open, now it becomes closed. This one was closed, now it becomes what? Open. So let us see during the downstroke. Okay? On downstroke, valve X opens while valve Y closes. Water is forced into the chamber W through valve X by pressure on the plunger. You see? So this is what I said. That when this piston now moves down, the weight of this water is going to press this valve. So this valve will close. This valve will close, and when it closes here, the water will have what? Will come with a greater force, because as you are pressing, you are using force. So that force will make sure that it hits this valve and the valve opens. And then the water will be able to go on the upper chamber W. Is that okay? Yes. So after that, compressed air. So water is forced into chamber W through valve X by pressure on the plunger. Compressed air helps to push the water through the spout. You see? So there is compressed air somewhere here. Here the air has been compressed. So this air also presses the liquid and forces it to do what? To pass through the what? The spout. So compressed air helps. Once the water has reached here, the water is now forced to pass through the exit pipe, which we call the spout. And then the water pours. So this is in line with this question assignment. With the aid of a label diagram, explain how a force pump works. 7 marks. So you can see, where do you get marks? Drawing diagram, accurate diagram, 1 mark. Labeling, they give you another one. Then now explaining, you see? You explain one by one, the way we have done, until you reach the upper stroke, what happens, the down stroke, what happens, and you get all your marks. So briefly, this is how a force pump works.